I think the idea that XRP is a security, it has traded out there for 8 years. You know, it's kind of like, well, if it was a security, I guess we should have known that a long time ago. No, I mean, look, if you own a security, it gives you ownership of a company, right? If Ripple goes away, XRP is going to keep trading. Many countries around the world, the UK, Japan, Switzerland, Singapore, they all have clarity and certainty that XRP is not a security. In fact, the United States is the only country on the planet that has suggested that XRP is a security. And that's why I say this isn't just bad for Ripple, it's bad for crypto broadly here in the United States, and it's driving that activity, it's driving that entrepreneurial activity outside the United States. I think that definitely bodes poorly for the US crypto industry at large. I think if you believe these are the future infrastructures for payment networks, I think we should care about, you know, what countries have control over those technologies.
Stifling innovation. I mean, what are you worried about innovation being stifled?
Oh, I think I'm not worried about it. It's happening. You know, the first piece of advice I give entrepreneurs that are starting companies in the crypto space, to the extent they are US based, the first piece of advice I give them is don't incorporate in the United States. The rules of the road in the United States are not clear as compared to if you're in Japan or the UK or Switzerland or Singapore. You know, these are all countries where the governments have done the work.
People are going to speculate on different asset classes. People speculate on gold, currencies. I mean, you name it, people are going to speculate. When we think about this, and what I've said very publicly is I think the long-term value of any digital asset is going to be derived from the utility it delivers. There is a lot of hype in the crypto market space. You know, we've seen that even recently. You know, a lot of attention around what's going on with Libra and Facebook's announcement around Libra. Today, that's just a white paper. It actually isn't. It isn't live. It hasn't launched. And you know, so I think that the hype often gets ahead of reality in many technologies, and I think that's true in the crypto space as well. What I would encourage any person looking at this marketplace is to really understand what is real, what is not real, and understand, is there a use case? Is there a utility? Bitcoin, I'm long Bitcoin, and Bitcoin I think has real utility around being a store of value. It's digital gold. But if a Bitcoin transaction takes on average 12 minutes to confirm and the transaction cost is over $1 per transaction, that's not going to be great for a payments solution. So around payments, we think XRP is uniquely and extremely well positioned to solve that payments problem. It's extremely fast at about 3 seconds per transaction, and it costs about 1/1000th of a penny to actually enable that transaction. So we often make the point that, well, where Bitcoin is very profound in solving that store of value, an XRP transaction's about 1,000 times faster and it's about 1,000 times cheaper per transaction.
Bitcoin is
an experiment in monetary theory. It's a breakthrough in emergent collaborative systems.
Complicated and maybe the future as a store of value.
In 5 years, cash will be...
Cash. I don't think cash is changing dramatically in the next 5 years.
Cash will be valuable still, but it may take on different forms. Some of those forms will be decentralized cryptocurrencies.
You should invest in XRP because...
Not even going to answer that.
We're solving a multi-trillion-dollar problem and we're making a lot of progress towards that.
ICOs are...
fraud.
Speculative, and speculation drives innovation. So they're very important in creating foundational infrastructure.
Governments should embrace cryptocurrency because they can help make governments more efficient.
I am certain the government should embrace applications built on blockchain systems.
What keeps me awake at night is...
email.
Keeping the Ripple momentum going.
To critics who say cryptocurrency is a bubble, I say yes, it's a bubble that drives innovation.
They were also the people shorting Amazon in 1997.
The Bank of England is a paid customer of Ripple's. There's another central bank we haven't announced that we're working with very actively. Okay, so the first thing to understand is these are all open source technologies. When people talk about, you know, forking technologies, you have seen Bitcoin forked multiple times. You have Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin BSV, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin. I can't name them all. There's 4 or 5 forks of the Bitcoin blockchain. Bitcoin, obviously, the primary BTC has remained kind of the most notable. But in the same way, people can take XRP, an open source technology, and hypothetically, they could fork that if they chose to do so. Now, around the ownership piece, As is the case with Bitcoin, there's some big whales that were early in the Bitcoin community. There's one wallet that has 1 million Bitcoin in it. Nobody knows who owns it. In the XRP community, Ripple is the largest owner. And the point I have made is we are the most interested party in the success of the XRP ecosystem. We're very focused on our use case and how do we solve problems with XRP. But one of the things I'm excited about is you're seeing a growing ecosystem of other players investing in other use cases around XRP. Just recently, we announced a partnership with Coil, which is doing micropayments for content. So next time you're reading a story on the Financial Times website and you hit that paywall, you hypothetically could just pay, hey, here's a dime, here's a quarter, here's 50 cents. Where today, that's a pretty hard problem. And companies like Coil are going to use XRP for those micropayment transactions. So yes, Ripple owns a lot of XRP. We're very interested in the success of XRP. But the accusations of us dumping, that's not in our best interest to do that. We're clearly interested in a healthy, successful ecosystem, and so we would never do that, and in fact have taken steps to lock up most of the XRP we own in escrow such that we can't touch it.
Look, I think that what we're seeing happen with stablecoins, we're seeing happening with central bank issued digital assets, I think is exciting. I'm not exactly clear how it's all going to play out. You're seeing countries experiment and test. Ripple has partnered with several central banks around the world. Some we've announced, some we haven't yet announced, that they're issuing and testing using the XRP ledger to issue their digital assets on the XRP ledger as a token.
Well, it's a good question. I think the highest friction points are going to be where you're going to get the most dog food. I'm going to work on that. The area where you're going to get the most engagement and velocity are the areas where today you have the most friction. And, when we think about our priority customers, it isn't a Euro-US problem, right? Or US dollar-Euro problem. Now, on the other hand, another thing I mentioned to David backstage, I was in talking to one of the largest global money center banks on the planet, and I was talking to them about our primary products, fiat called XCurrent. And this guy kind of interrupts me. He's like, yeah, that's nice, but I have a problem settling into Peru. Can I use XRP to help me settle into Peru? And honestly, I was like, holy shit. Here's the biggest banks in the world who has more liquidity than almost anybody out there, and I'm not even trying to talk to him about crypto and digital assets. I'm trying to talk to him about the core of fiat to fiat. And he's already looking ahead and realizing that, look, this is something that can help me solve a problem in Peru. And I don't want to necessarily hold currency in Peru from an inflation point of view or a regulatory risk point of view, compliance risk. So they're looking for other solutions. And again, if you solve a real problem for real customers, it's going to work out.
Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Missouri. Nice to meet you. How are you? Nice to meet you. Likewise. Levan is Missouri. Nice to meet you. Please.
I was saying that there's a lot of crypto and conversations have happened, and so we're opening an office in Miami.
Yeah, sure. So let's use MoneyGram as the example. When MoneyGram is moving money from US dollar to Mexican peso, they're buying at market. They're not, there's no special sweetheart deal there. There are times when we work with institutional investors who might say, hey, we want to buy $10 million of XRP, and we would have lockups that would prevent them from dumping. We don't want some other party buying a whole lot of XRP and dumping it on the market. And so we would hypothetically have restrictions about what they could sell and what, how often. And usually those are based upon volume in the market. When Ripple thinks about what we're doing, we've had more momentum in terms of customer sales. I think we signed about 3 production contracts. And again, these aren't experiments. These are production contracts per week in Q1. It was a record Q1 for us. 2018 was a huge year for us. So, I look at where we are with blockchain, and I think the hype got ahead of the reality in terms of just people talking about, provenance and even identity, which was discussed up here on the stage earlier, I think is a really hard blockchain problem that no one company is going to be able to tackle. But I think that focus has put us in a position of lots of customer momentum, and I'm super excited about 2019. I do think there's going to be more M&A. I think anytime you go through this kind of crypto winter trough, you see people kind of get flushed out, and you've seen layoffs in the crypto space. I view that as a healthy part of a nascent market growing, and but I think it'll force real utility and solving a real problem.
Brad, do you think that, sorry, can I ask a question, Brad? Do you think that the different blockchains are going to come together when you say that there's mergers? Do you think the Bitcoin blockchain and Ethereum are going to start to
No, I was thinking more about, there's a lot of companies that have started.
Yeah.
Although I think what his question kind of underlies is, there's something like 2,000 different tokens and by definition underlying blockchains. I think 99% of them go away.
Yeah.
I think most of them, 99% is kind of a random number, but if we ended up with 10.
The big number.
Yeah, and the vast majority are going to go away. And I think it's because a lot of them were created with either an unclear use case or a use case that hasn't proven out. And you already see that to some degree because there's no liquidity. And ultimately in the digital asset space, liquidity is critical to the success. And so, we have been fortunate to build our technologies on something called the XRP ledger, and that's done well.